Good evening. Welcome to the Big Fight. I'm Vishnu Shom. On the program tonight, the tragedy in Hathras in Uttar Pradesh, in which 121 people were killed in a stampede when they went to attend a satsang of the Godman Bhole Baba, once again brings to the forefront the phenomena of godmen, mystics and saints, not unique by any means to only India, but a problem many feel at so many levels. Who are these godmen? What are their true credentials? Why are vulnerable people made to believe truths or on this make or leave phenomena? Why is this phenomena so dangerous, particularly in our country? On the show tonight, the Godmen Phenomena. Why are Indians obsessed with issues that scientists, in fact, fear to tread on? The fact is that Godmen prey on the awe that so many have of the supernatural, but it is their frequent involvement with crime and blatant acts of breaking the law that creates so many problems. On the program, the Godmen Phenomena. Why are Indians obsessed with Babas? I'm joined by Professor Ashish Nandi, Rahul Ishwar, Gohar Raza, Dr. Rani Tokas, and Rajeshwar Guruji, the spiritual leader. I'd like to thank you all very much for being with us. The way we do the big fight, and the question this evening is the Godmen Phenomena. Why are Indians obsessed with the Babas? We first have our first punch. That's the part of the program where I give all of our panelists 1 minute to make their point. So let me go across first to Rahul Ishwar. In 1 minute, Rahul, why are Indians obsessed with Babas and what is your point? 1 minute, then the debate.
Vishnuji, there are Babas and black sheep. As we know, there are good people, sadhus, spiritual gurus, and there are fraud men who does such bad act. Let us be very categorical about it. Our freedom struggle was led by a sadhu from the Sabarmati ashram. The greatest Indian Renaissance leader was a 29-year-old Bengali who literally rebranded India in the world. He was also a sadhu. So please remember, there are sadhus and good people of every category, but there are bad people too. Bad people are all those who are convicted by the court of law. Suppose a Ram Rahim or a Asaram Bapu or a Nityanand who is a fugitive. Let us not call anyone any bad name without any court finding them wrong. Let us understand that this is a phenomenon world across. People have their own beliefs, but we should be able to differentiate between belief and superstition. Belief is great, superstition is bad. All the rituals are great, but all the anacharas or all the wrong things are bad. So we should be able to differentiate it. Unfortunately, when such kind of tragedies occurs, all the atheists and rationalists pounce upon us and demean belief and believers. I've seen this in Sabarimala when we lost 106 people. So many people were attacking us for the belief. It can happen in an atheist meet. It can happen in a journalistic meet. It can happen in so many other congregations. So please remember, the issue is scientific crowd management and not about belief or not about good sadhus or bad sadhus. Let us differentiate these two and bring
Rahul, I get to raise my voice over the rest of you because your time is over. But I'll come back to you in just a moment. Let me go across to Gohar Raza, former scientist at CSIR. You've got 1 minute for the first punch. Go ahead, sir.
There are two aspects to the problem that we are dealing with at the moment. Hathras incident has brought this to light. One is the government's role in congregations which are large and difficult to control. The other one is role of Babas in whatever is going on in the country.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
If we talk about the government's role, the government has failed to control the crowd there. It is the responsibility of the center as well as the state government to control the crowds and avoid such incidents where lots of people have lost their lives. But the government cannot control because Babas are controlling the government. We know that even the Prime Minister has grown or has been groomed by touching feet of Babas. So how can it take action against Babas when they cross the line that my predecessor was talking about?
Babas crossing the line. Okay, 1 minute up. I'll come back to you in a while. Rajeshwar Guruji, let me come to you next. Do we have Rajeshwar Guruji? Guruji, you've got 1 minute. In that 1 minute, the question is, why are Indians obsessed with Babas? These are your first comments. 1 minute, please.
Well, all the faith and that is the important in our Indian cultures. Regarding the Babas, there is so many Babas in different way. But I think so. I believe whatever happened currently in India, any Babas, I think so. They need to be the management team need to be learn how to manage the crowd, so no one can hurt. Second point is that any events, any festivals, we cannot stop. But yes, Baba can give the message. If there is an overcrowd, please be at home, watch TV or live, and control everyone, faith, and whatever the harmony they do.
Your first minute, let me go across to Professor Ashish Nandi, the well-known sociologist. Sir, 1 minute for your first punch. Go ahead, sir. Professor Nandi, go ahead. Yes.
The problem is not the problem is not the kind of crowd they are attracting. The problem is in the fact that the sadhus are exposed now to a certain volume and certain range of communications, and otherwise they are themselves promoting to some extent assembly of mobs, because they are no longer only sadhus. They also have a touch of advertisement in them, a certain kind of clever promotion of their abilities and healing properties, and this is not, has been the case also in some, we know of the
All
case
right,
of,
so that's been a problem. Okay, I'm interrupting you because we'll start the debate in a bit. Dr. Rani Tokas, the well-known sociologist, your 1 minute, your time starts now, ma'am. Go ahead.
Thank you for having me over. So, firstly, I would like to, begin with the whole this idea of Godmen phenomenon. I, as a sociologist, feel that it's just not a phenomenon that is at work, but it is a whole institution that has been at work, because there is a structured organization. You can see hundreds of ashrams across the country, and there are millions of followers and sevadas at work. So it is very critical to gain a deeper understanding of this idea of Godmen phenomenon as an institution. But yes, we need to question that how these institutions are,
Okay,
how
we
they
need to
emerge
question how
and
the
how they
institutions are.
prosper. And
Interrupting you, your 1 minute is over, doctor. But the debate starts now. Let me go straight across to Rahul Ishwar. Rahul, let's talk a little bit about Bhole Baba. This was a person who's broken the law, his followers in the past. It's not the first time that there have been way too many people who've been called to his satsangs, number one. And number two, what is his credibility to become? What is his credibility to become Bhole Baba? He was a official, a constable in the police working with the intelligence department. Where is he discovered whatever it is that he has?
Vishnuji, two submissions. First of all, Bhole Baba rose up from a very backward kind of a community, from very humble beginnings, and he reached wherever he is. You can question whatever his teachings and all. Second, this is not regarding qualifications. You don't take some kind of a PhD in spirituality to do this. So many people, out of their own revelation, out of their own conviction, have taken up these causes. Yes, you can definitely question if they are doing any criminal activity, any antisocial activity. We can cross-check. Otherwise, India is a land of such Babas and sadhus, and that has been our history and heritage. And please remember, even the first freedom struggle was started by sadhus and fakirs. The Hindu sadhus and Muslim fakirs joined together. So we have a great legacy of it. So let us not demean words like Baba or Sadhu or Bapu. We had a Bapu, and we also had Asaram Bapu. Just because there is a Asaram,
but I'm sure you would agree that there's a big difference between the two.
Obviously, yeah, that's the point. That's the whole point. So there is a Vivekananda Gandhi on one side. There is
you had me worried.
On the other
Rahul,
side.
you had me worried over there for 1 minute.
No, absolutely no. That's the reason why my only submission is, let us not use this opportunity to attack as believers. Okay. I'm a very humble believer. I'm not an intellectual left liberal, but I'm a believer. I believe in such kind of people.
Okay, fair enough. Professor Ashish Nandi, what is wrong in being a believer? Some would suggest that there is science. So belief
Even
versus
if they are
science. How do you deal with that?
believers,
Yes.
No, it is not belief versus science. It is the expanding corporate culture in India. Everybody wants to live a good life, including sadhus and including what you are calling the good sadhus. Because look at some of the examples where there was this well-known sadhu, which Supreme Court even, Supreme Court, it went up to Supreme Court. Supreme Court had told him that he shouldn't make exorbitant claims. He went and flouted that. Now he was not a hoax. He is excellent in yoga, and certain kind of healing things he might be also knowing. But he ultimately wanted the attraction of being a public figure, the attraction of being rich, attraction of being close to important public figures. This ultimately took its toll.
All right, I get that point. Raj Rajeshwar Guruji,
And
respond to that
is
point.
the problem.
Guruji, respond to that point that a lot of godmen in India are less godmen than they are money spinners who are interested in being close to power centers.
I can believe sometime might be they misuse the spiritual power. But I also believe that if the people have a faith and they go to temples or ashrams or whatever they way, there is a faith. But as per your questions, many people or many sadhus or many babas might be they are misusing the power and misusing the ability. And I can also, as per our Rahulji said, many different babas have different categories. Rahulji also said that the many people have a different belief, and you cannot stop the belief, but you can control, you can manage them. And this is the way, I think so. Everyone needs to be learn little bit how we can support each other, how we can control the crowd, or how we can control our faith or belief.
Guruji, do you believe that there are some godmen who are fake and others who are real?
Well, depend how we look. If they misusing the status or misusing the spiritual power, then I can say that Raman is also misusing the power, and then everyone they said that Raman has did something like that, and Sita Mata was there. Same thing. Many babas, many sadhus, they misusing the Bhagwa Kapda, misusing that the spiritual power. And I can say yes. And the government, they are the judge, and the Supreme Court or High Court, they are the they give the
All right, so everybody comes under the law. Okay. Gohar Raza, there was a case of Asaram Bapu convicted in a rape case. Swami Nityanand fled the country after rape charges, established a so-called sovereign nation of Kailasa. Gurmeet Singh Ram Rahim, Dera Sacha Sauda chief, serving a sentence in rape and a murder case. Sant Rampal convicted in a murder case and given a life term. These were some of the most popular godmen in India. Were these people all frauds? Were they spiritual, or did they misuse their spirituality and turn illegal against the law?
Whatever you have described, there is answer hidden in that. They are not godmen anyway. Anybody who claims to be a godman is a fake and fraud. By definition, they are fraud. They are not only fraud, they are criminals, in fact. And let's call a spade a spade. I was talking about role of Babas. It's very ironical that as TV came to India, this Baba phenomena started at the same time. And it has grown over a period of time. Babas realized that there is a market, and they institutionalized. My friend Dr. Rani, in fact, said institutionalization. I call it that they institutionalized factories of myths and superstitions and started fraud factories all across the country. And Babas have grown to such an extent in power, both as far as money is concerned and the power on people they wield, that there is a nexus, an unholy nexus of these so-called holy people along with the political leadership in the country. And these factories of which churn out myths and superstition across the country and make people, they're fraud, in fact. And they have grown to such a level that if you calculate the wealth that they have amassed, 10 of them, if their wealth is counted and is confiscated, then entire country, in the entire country, students can be given a scholarship of around 30,000. I was just toying with these figures.
Oh, is that
one
the
day.
case? All right.
Just generally looking at the figures, and it's amazing that they could be given free education in the entire country, and every student will get probably 30,000 rupees a year as a scholarship.
Okay, let me
So,
get a response from Rahul
where
Ishwar.
exactly as a country we are putting our
Rahul
money?
Ishwar, all Babas are frauds.
Tell
That's
me.
the key point that Gohar Raza says. Respond.
Gaur Rasa sir, with due respect to you as a scientist, Vishnuji, one, we don't accept the terminology Godman at all. We believe in Baba, Sadhus and Sons, and Godman is a totally different, negative, pejorative kind of a terminology. So we don't agree with that. Let
But
all
don't
the
they
bad
don't they
people-
imply the same thing? A godman and some say Baba, it implies the same thing.
No, the connotation is the
Baba
connotation
Baba is
different.
often used in Hindi, and
No,
godman
no,
is English in many cases.
No, we have
They're synonymous.
we have great spiritual leaders, sadhus and sons like Sri Ramakrishna Paramhansa, Vivekananda. They are all, or there are many good people like Sri Ravi Shankarji, or there are many good people in the modern era too. In the same way, there are many bad people. Even Ravan masked himself as a godman and a fake Baba to kidnap Sita.
So
But
when
the more
Gohar
serious one
Raza
is-
says that all Babas are fake and the ones he is referring to are those who are making money, right?
That's
Is he
just
right
one
or wrong?
submission. Just only one submission, that too from the greatest scientist of all time, 1940. Albert Einstein rightly says, science without religion is lame and religion without science is blind.
No, but
Can't
there's
we have a
religion and
reasonable
then there
middle
are
ground?
godmen and Babas. That's the point.
There are good people, there are Babas, black sheeps and godmen. Let us appreciate Babas, let us call out black sheeps, and let us have religion plus science. Not that they have to fight in between. Religion plus science is possible.
Okay, 1 second, Gohar Raza, respond to that. Religion
Let's not
plus
forget
science.
Vishnu, let's not forget that Narayan Dabolkar was killed because he brought a legislation, law against Babas and frauds. Let's not forget that. These Babas are frauds. They are recent phenomena. What my friend is talking about is the spiritual leaders of the past. This is a new phenomena. This is started in 80s and has grown to such an extent that now they can put the entire country at ransom. We know that a Baba trampled upon the Yamuna river, where nobody is allowed to hold any function, and he was allowed to do that despite all kinds of hue and cry which was made in the press, and people were dead against trampling upon that area. It was against law that he was permitted to do that, and there's no action till today. So
Vishnu, yeah, as a part
Babas
of that
wield
World Cultural
such
Festival,
powers,
that's a
and
debatable
we are
topic.
talking about don't
I was
hide
personally a part
behind
of
the
that World Cultural
spirituality.
Festival happened. But these are
So,
gray areas we can
please
debate
let me
until the cows come
complete.
home. But there are
Please let me
serious
complete.
offenders.
I did
There are
not
serious
interject.
offenders like Asaram Bapu.
Please let
There are
me complete.
serious rapists. There are serious
Just
people who do
please,
exploitation. Why don't we
please
join
let me
hands against
complete.
them?
No,
Rahul,
I
half
didn't.
a second. Gohar Saab, go ahead.
I am saying that this is a recent phenomenon. Don't please hide behind the curtain of spirituality and religion.
Okay,
Please
Rahul
do
Ishwar,
not do
got it, sir.
that,
You made your
because
point.
that is a
Rahul wants
very
to
dangerous
respond.
game.
Rahul, go ahead.
Just one humble submission, Vishnuji. See, there are gray areas. We can debate it until the cows come home. But there are perfectly definable black areas we should be able to fight on. For example, Asaram Bapu, no one agrees. There are sexual exploitations, there are economic exploitation. That's the reason why a reasonable anti-superstition law, we all believers agree. And this is not mere lip service. We have even drafted one particular anti-superstition law for the state of Kerala, where we said right to information should be applicable for temple, churches, mosques and ashrams. And there are millions and millions of reasonable, commonsensical believers like me who will agree with all the people who want to reform. But please don't demonize us. Please don't brand us if we are all backward and we are all people who are lost and you are the only people who are intelligent. We are reasonable people, but we are also believers. That's the reason why science plus religion is the way forward. Science versus religion won't help us reach anywhere.
Gohar Sahib, is that something you accept? Science plus belief or science plus religion?
I am making a submission which is very, very simple, that do not confuse and hide behind the curtain of spirituality and religion. These are fraud people and they should be called fraud. They should be called criminals and they should be behind the bars, because it is against the constitution to spread superstitions anyway. Our constitution very clearly puts responsibility of every citizen, including my friends sitting here and the channel that we are on at the moment. It puts the responsibility on every citizen, including the President of India, that one should spread scientific temper, spirit of inquiry, and humanism.
Okay.
These Babas are against that, and we should recognize and call a
Also
spade
have
a spade.
Article 25 would be only my one-line submission. We have to balance Article 25 and our fundamental duty of scientific temper 51A.
Okay. Dr. Rani
51
Tokas,
AH, yeah.
do Babas translate into
It's
votes?
very low. The voice is low.
Of course, yes. There is a nexus between
Dr.
them.
Rani Tokas, do Babas translate into votes?
Can you just say it again?
Do Babas translate
Yes.
into votes?
Of course they do. There's no doubt about it, because there is a whole this vote bank politics, which certainly perpetuates blind faith amongst followers, and we must acknowledge the fact that there's a very thin line between what we call faith and in comparison to that of blind faith. But I would like to also reflect that this whole idea of obsession with Babaji, we need to understand the social context in which this whole institution is growing, because we are living in postmodern world, and where most of our decisions are based on empirical facts. We talk about scientific temper, but at the same time, there are other social, cultural, psychological, economical, and political aspects that are very important to be kept in mind while we are talking about it. Because there is certainly, we can say that this whole idea of obsession about with Babajis can be a symptom of a larger problem that we are facing right now. So, and of course, it has existed since very long. So there is a strained social institutions in postmodern societies. So
Okay.
there is strain in terms of relationship, in terms of institutions like family, marriage, religion, and media also for that matter. Because there is the overwhelming, difference between the real life and the real life, wherein the real life would give you an imagined life with all your desires being fulfilled. When those desires are not being fulfilled, not being met in the real life, then certainly you would want to go for, different ways. So
All right.
and it's, I would like to add, there is a class phenomena to that as well. And I'm not saying that it's just particular to one caste or class for that matter. It is across the class.
Okay, I get the point you're mentioning. You're saying, Dr. Tokas. Wanted to quick, since I'm running out of time, Professor Ashish Nandi, do Babas translate into votes? The link between politicians and Babas, for example, there was Chandrasamy Swamy, who was known to be close to the former Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao. Some suggested that he wielded enormous political power. So is there this connect which seems to indicate that politicians and Babas or godmen thrive on each other?
Well, I will not take more than a couple of minutes. I would leave you with the thought that the problem is not fully under control. There are thousands of politicians seeking the guidance of Babas, and they have been doing so from the beginning of independent India.
Yes.
Because everybody wants to get some security, whether I am going to win the election or not, or whether whether I will be alive while the next chance of coup comes, and so on and so forth. And trying to suffocate this with all kinds of technicalities. Science is not science is not, I declare, is not the healing touch. The science may be realistic, but science cannot give you confidence about your selection in elections. Science cannot give you conviction about whether you will get out of your cancer or not.
Right.
For that you need a different kind of Baba, on which also you do not have control. It is
All right.
by their own effort and own inner control, they are trying to be helpful. That's
All right.
that.
But I think we'll all agree that
No
we need to
science can
ensure
interfere in that.
that there is perhaps space for belief. There is an understanding we need to have of the attraction of people towards the supernatural in a sense. But again, there is the law which needs to be protected, and rapists and criminals and murderers need to be stopped at any count. I'd like to leave it at that. Thank you all very much for joining us on The Big Fight. It's time now for this short break.